Hello, hello! Do you want to know which biotech stocks performed best on the Nasdaq this week? Why they rose and learn from it for future opportunities? Hop in and let's start the taxi. Let's see what happened this week with my favorite platform, Finbit. The three biotech stocks that rose the most on the Nasdaq are GNPX with a 379% increase, MNPR with a 200% increase, and ENSC Bioscience with a 100% increase. Welcome to Taxi Biotech, a show to learn about news and updates in the world of biotechnology and understand its impact on the stock market. The stock data I show here is a symptom of how companies or the clinical trials are progressing and does not constitute any investment advice. This is pure entertainment. Okay, we are going to start with GenPrex, which went up nearly 10x in 2 days. It has an extremely low float of shares that we can see here in Finbit, 2.5 million. As we saw in the last week video, this is crucial for these explosive movements. Check out the video from the last week, top stocks from the Nasdaq, for more information. Currently, GenPrex market cap remains very low at only $5 million. We are talking about a very small company. The reason for this move is that the gene therapy in combination with atezo was approved to escalate to a next higher dose. It's also a therapy with fast track and orphan drug designation. Here, investors thought that this approval to escalate is a sign of safety, which is very positive for them and essential for advancing through the next clinical stages. The first patient treated has seen a 30% decrease in tumor mass, indicating that the drug is working in that patient. The pipeline includes several drugs in study, although most are in preclinical stage. This gene therapy employs positively charged lipid nanoparticles and targets cancer cells, which typically have a negative charge. These lipid particles carry the TUSC2 gene, which, once transcribed, disrupt cellular signals. Personally, I don't see this as big enough news to warrant a 400% rise in one day. But two factors are in play. Its extremely low market cap and float of only 2.5 million shares. Last week, we saw the bright mind bioscience effect, and investors are seeking these conditions for these explosive movements. However, there are many such companies, and it's hard to predict which will succeed. For details on bright mind bioscience, take a drag, see last week's video on the Nasdaq's top biotech stocks. Moving on to the second on the list, MNPR, with a 500% rise in day, followed by a 50% drop. Why? Let's find out. Looking at their pipeline, they have very little, mostly in preclinical or phase 1. However, they have one drug in phase 3. Here, with phase 3 which with achieved endpoints, although phase 2 was inclusive without achieving primary endpoints. This drug is ALX N1840. This drug is intended to remove excess of copper in a rare disease that affects 1 in 30,000 births. This week, they announced a deal with AstraZeneca, and that's where the spike came from. But details matter in these things. This drug wasn't developed by MNPR. It was developed by Alexion, an AstraZeneca subsidiary. the press release this week announced MNPR agreement to obtain all right to this drug if approved by the FDA. Here is the deal completely. Some very small words, and I'm going to show you the highlights. Alexion will receive from MNPR shares equivalent to almost 10% stake in MNPR, 9.9%, okay? MNPR will pay to Alexion 4 million total, split into two payments, 1 million when signing the agreement and 3 million within the next 90 days. MNPR will pay Alexion up to 94 million if the drug meets certain regulatory things. The negative aspects, as they state in their own release here, negative aspects are in this part of this statement. Every links in the comment below, as you know, said the FDA and other agencies could require additional studies, meaning more time and money. And remind this, and this is my words, phase 2 didn't go as they expected. They continued, if approved, sales may be low due to alternative or new treatments. MNPR had 6 million in cash in September, enough to cover the initial 4 million licensing payments. So they'll need additional financing to move forward with this and other projects. You know what happens when a biotech company needs money. In my personal opinion, this raises enough negative points to be cautious, despite the price did an increase of 5x. Lastly, we have ENSC Bioscience, up to 200% in 2 days. Their press releases doesn't show any debts, and there is little information on Twitter. With a market cap of 5 million, it's quite easy to manipulate, although its float isn't tiny. If you have more info, drop in the comments, please. And as extra bonus, TVGN made the top 10 again. As we noted in the last week video, it rose due to a series of an extremely optimistic future valuation. And again, they do it again. This week, they've had 22 billion in expected growth. And they say that they partner with Microsoft for artificial intelligence projects. This Microsoft project is just a web platform that anyone can join. So, welcome to Biotech, a market that can stay irrational longer than you can remain solvent. For more on TVGN, watch last week's top Nasdaq stock video that I did. So, as a final assessment, let's see what we learned last week and if we can apply it here. Surprises are unpredictable, as ENSC shows. We also see TVGN's continued rise as they use pre-releases, although signs of weaknesses are starting to appear. We can see this in the chart. We see that the stock with the highest rise this week also fits the criteria of a low float and low market cap company, as was the case with drug Brightmind Bioscience last week. And finally, MNPR agreement shows capital increase can happen anytime. And today's new lessons: don't get carried away by deals with large multinationals without reading the details. However, since most people won't read every details, we might take advantage of the first few hours and consider other options if the agreement isn't favorable. You know what I mean? This is risky, although I would only attempt this kind of play. Only with money I'm willing to lose if it falls. I'll repeat, this is not investment advice, just understanding how this market works. We'll leave this pattern here to see if this will repeat. And finally, we'll wrap up with memes. Sometimes fundamentals don't explain stock behavior and price risk due to speculative moves copying explosive strategies from previous day. Another meme here. I'm going to say, if it works, don't change it. It's working again. Add artificial intelligence and pump it. And lastly, the goal of this channel is that we don't need to make decisions long or short. We are here to learn, and maybe in the future, with enough confidence, we won't have to sweat as much. Please, constructive feedback is welcome, and see you next time.